So could you just start by introducing yourselves and your roles, please?
So I'm Mia Williams. I'm one of the ASB officers at Tameside Council. I've been in the role since about November, I think it was. And then this is my colleague Karen.
Yeah, so I'm Karen Daniels. I'm also an Antisocial Behaviour officer for Tameside Council.
So can you tell me a bit about antisocial behaviour in your area and what kind of problems you have?
I think mainly in our area we tend to have a lot of neighbour disputes and a lot of youth issues really. We do dish out a fair few ABCs. We're a little bit unusual really in Tameside because we don't have any housing stock. So a lot of our people that we deal with tend to be private tenants or private owners, so that does make us a little bit different to other areas. But we are still quite busy.
So what capacity have you been working with Remedi in regards to neighbourhood disputes?
Yeah, so obviously we reached out to Remedi with a number of our cases, and they have been really, really successful. They're really approachable. They explain the process to us, and as a result of being able to access their service, we find that it helps us out and reduces demand on us and also on the local police.
What do you think it is that Remedi does that works so well?
Possibly the staff that they have, the facilitators. They're obviously very experienced, very good at what they do. And they have time more so than what we do. They can get to the root cause of the problem. Often with a neighbour dispute, it started many, many years ago and nobody can actually recall what started it, where it all came from. It may be something as simple to us, but to them, a parking dispute, it just gets more and more and more intense, and other things start being identified, and people who were once perhaps friendly now just don't speak to each other at all, and there's threats of violence on occasions, there's intimidation, there's fear, and Remedi are really, really good at managing people's expectations, at reaching out to these people and coming up with some form of agreement at the end of it, to enable the neighbours to live in harmony.
At Remedi, we say we like to do everything restoratively. So what do you think is restored when we can have mediation between two people in a neighbourhood dispute?
I think a lot of the time it is that getting them to understand each other. There's usually a lot of things going on in their own background lives that they don't understand, they don't know what's happening, and I think Remedi is really good at bringing back that understanding, restoring that sort of seeing each other as just people that live next door to each other, instead of being what they've built up some character in their head. I think Remedi is brilliant at bringing that back down and helping them understand each other on that human level again. It's
also the offer of support and signposting for other services. Remedi are very good at identifying that, and with some of our neighbour disputes, we're not aware of that. We don't know what's going on behind those closed doors. We get two different sides of the story, two very, very different sides. And it's really useful to have Remedi as, that go-between, as the people that can challenge behaviour, but also provide support for those neighbours.